Magic Mike in the mix. You tune in to the Magic Show Deluxe. How about that disappointment last night? The Blue Jays, hold on a minute. I'm gonna go back to football, man. Like, get rid of that, right? Bring back the Raiders. You know what I'm saying? Gotta bring that back. All right. No disrespect to my fellas out in T-Dot, right? But I was disappointed in that. We got my man. You know how this is. I give you some of the hardest artists coming out, about to break. We got my man Reef Hustle. What's going on, my G? All the way from Bronx, New York.
Yo! What up? What up? What's the word, baby? I mean, all is well, man. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to T Dot, man. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody in Canada and all that, man. Thank you for having me, Magic Mike, man. I appreciate you, man. All is well. BX, you know it.
All is well. What are you doing this Sunday, man, up in the Bronx?
Man, listen, I'm a gym rat. You know what I'm saying? So I just came from the gym, man. Then I'm about to eat, chill out for a minute, eat, watch some basketball. You know what I'm saying? Then after that's gonna be a smooth day. That's
What's your
it.
what's your diet? Like what you gonna eat?
So I'm not gonna lie to you. I cheat sometimes, but a lot. I eat salmon. I eat a lot of salads. I eat a lot of greens. I minimize carbohydrates. You know what I'm saying? Your brain got to have some, but I minimize that, and I eat once a day.
You know what's funny? They always tell you that you got to eat 3 meals a day. You know what I mean? And fasting rebuilds your cells. You know what I mean? I know what you mean.
Uh,
I'm kind of doing my
Yeah,
thing
yeah. I
too,
see you.
right?
I see you.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean? But I
yeah.
will I will tell you this much, Reef Hustle, right? You brought up in the Bronx, the birthplace of hip hop, right?
Yup.
Let's
Yup.
talk about your upbringing because you're seeing things way before the rest of the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, so I had older brothers, man, you know what I'm saying? My man, DJ Ron K, he was an elder god of mine, and then my big brother, his name was Ron Ski. They used to call him back in the day. So they used to do their thing a lot, in the parks, park jams and stuff like that. So it would happen like jams would happen in the schools, you know what I'm saying, in the school parks. You know what I mean? Jams would happen in the school parks, man. And I used to witness all of that and just really not understanding that I might have been standing around the actual godfather of hip hop, you know what I'm saying, watching all of this go down. You know what I mean? So it was really basically stand behind the ropes, man. I mean, everybody get from behind the rope, just the DJ, and they just spinning them records, man, getting everybody rocking. You know what I'm saying? It was really, really dope back then. It was also a time where a lot of people didn't have any money. You know what I'm saying? Like we didn't have no money. All we had really was family and love. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever love you had in the street too. You know what I'm saying? All we really had was that. And so we created this culture called hip hop. You know what I mean? And it's amazing to what has happened right now. You know?
A lot of people said because we know the sound systems, you know what I mean, out in Jamaica, right? And they
Yep.
came to
Yep.
the Bronx, right?
Yep. Yep.
Queens and all the boroughs, right?
Yep.
Which borough had the most powerful sound system? I'm hearing that Queens had it all back then. You know what I mean?
That's a good answer. I don't know, man. I think I was a little too young for that one. I couldn't really tell you. You know what I'm saying? I don't know who was the strongest, but I'm from the Bronx, man. You know what I'm saying? Put it like this. For my first 5 years of my life, I was living in Harlem. And then I moved from Harlem to the Bronx and then spent the rest of my life in the Bronx. You know what I'm saying? So I really don't know who had the most powerful sound system, even when I was growing up in the young stages of hip hop. I really don't know. So I'm not even gonna sit here and lie to you, man. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, because I'm from the Bronx, I would say, my mentors, which was like, my big bro DJ Ron K and my brother Ron Ski. You know what I'm saying? Those were my mentors. So I would say, just looking at them, they had the big sound system to me because I was just a little guy, you know?
All right. So how does Big Pun play in your life? Did you work with Big Pun?
Absolutely. So um it was really, I think it's just really divine intervention, man. You know what I'm saying? One day, I'm coming out of the store and I see a big Benz, you know what I'm saying? In front of it was Tony Sunshine. He was actually, at the car door. Um, then he moved out the way and I seen Pun. I was like, oh wow. I was like, yo, this is Pun right here. I was like, this is crazy. And during that time, I was just like, yo, before I met him, I was like, yo, I'm not doing hip hop no more. Like, I'm not rapping no more. I'm tired. I'm not doing this no more. You know what I'm saying? At the time I had a family, and I had to work. You know what I'm saying? I had to work and everything. So I just was going to work and I was going to church at the time heavy, you know. So the day I seen him, Tony Sunshine was standing in front of him. He moved out the way and I seen Pun. I was like, oh wow, this is crazy. I said, yo, Tony Sunshine, I said, yo, what's up, man? You know, he was like, yo, what's up? I said, yo, tell your man, give me 30 seconds. I said, tell him to give me 30 seconds. Then after that, I'll be out your way. And there was already two dudes over there rapping already. You know what I'm saying? I don't remember the guys' names, but it was two dudes over there rapping. So I was like, yo, just tell him, give me 30 seconds. He was like, all right, cool. So he told him, gave him 30 seconds. I spit. I don't remember what I spit. You know what I'm saying? And then he was just like, yo, I'm going to call you tomorrow. For sure. I'm going to call you tomorrow. Then the next day, he actually called me, man. You know, it was just like I said, it was like a divine intervention kind of thing. You know.
Well, that was a really incredible story, right? Because Big Pun was a really great MC, great artist. The way he put himself together, right? Did a lot for the Puerto
Yep.
Rican community, Latin community, right? And he
Yep.
actually spits fire. You know, his son Christopher, you know what I mean? He's carrying on the legacy.
Right.
Now, I want to say RIP to Fred the Godson. He was taken
Yep.
away right before he was about to really blow. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yep.
How's your relationship with Fred the Godson? How did you meet him and how did you start working with him?
Well, right before I get to that story, right? When I was rocking with Pun, I actually started living with him for about a year, right? I was living with him literally. He passes away. So fast forward some years later, I meet Fred the God. And how I met Fred the God was from my man on Chance of a Lifetime. This is one of my good brothers. We all knew the same people, like around in the circle, but we didn't know each other. So he introduced me to Fred. Once I got up with Fred, Fred was a lot like Pun. You know what I'm saying? Real charismatic, real funny, always making jokes, and stuff like that. But, also he was a fan, not only being a nice MC, but he was a fan of hip hop, like a heavy fan of hip hop. He knew like verses and bars from different artists, like, and I'm talking about back to back, and Pun was the same way. So it kind of drew me back because they were a lot alike, because there was a lot alike. Me and Fred actually started to grow a bond, and we started rocking from there. I showed him a lot just from me just being in the game a little bit before him. You know what I'm saying? Being entered into the pros, because it had Pun not passed away, I would be, all the way. I'd probably been on already. You know what I'm saying? I'd have probably been, past the career, putting other people on and stuff like that, because Pun was that given. But Fred was also the same type of person, man. You know what I mean? Just experiencing Fred, man, that's like, he's like my brother. He's like my little brother. You know what I'm saying? We were always hanging out. We was always talking about hip hop. It just was just nonstop, man. Eat, sleep, breathe hip hop. Rapping, writing, and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But yeah, and then everybody knows what happens to him. So I'm looking at Reef Hustle, right? What are the odds of him passing away, of Pun passing away, and then years later Fred passing away? You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, you know what, man, Reef, you here for a reason. You know what I'm saying? So I had made an album called For a Reason. You know, but we'll get into a couple of things like that, man. You go ahead, man. You finish asking your questions, man. You
You know
know,
what? I can see right now it's starting to bring back memories, right?
yeah.
Like as you're talking, it's like you're actually living with Pun again, and you're talking about Fred the Godson.
Fred, once again, Fred was a very big fan of 38 Special. You know what I'm saying? He was a very big fan, and Fred was the type that he didn't care about what you did, how you did it. You know, he didn't care about that. All he cared about was dope spitters. That's all he cared about. And he heard Special, and he used to come to me all the time like, yo, Special. He's like, yo, this dude is crazy. He was like, yo, this dude is amazing. Reef, you crazy. He's like, this dude is amazing. You know what I'm saying? So I started listening to him, but it just so happened that um uh Fred was working with official heat makers with my man Arsonist. Shout out to Ars. He was working with him, and then you know, they just linked up. You know what I'm saying? Spesh and Fred, they had linked up. I was there, of course, at the time. So we basically met all at the same time. And that was a few years ago. You know what I'm saying? That was a few years ago, probably about 6, 7 years ago. You know, and then from there, him and Fred built a relationship. Like I said, Fred was never afraid, to rock with dope MCs. And he always used to push Spesh. Always used to push
Fred
Spesh.
Fred wasn't a hater. Fred was not
He
a
wasn't,
hater.
nah, he wasn't scared or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? Spesh
Mhm.
is an ill dude. You know what I'm saying? And so is Fred. You know what I'm saying? But like you said, Fred was never a hater, man. He showed everybody love. People know, they know. You know what I'm saying? So once that happened, when he linked up with him, we basically build a relationship. You know what I'm saying? So I know Special for around the same amount of time. You know what I mean? I know a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? And he's one that's really genuine. He's official. You know what I'm saying? He's a general. You know what I mean? So I rock with people like that. You know what I'm saying? So we went further on and just kept in touch. We kept in touch and everything, and we just started rocking. I hit him up. I said, "Yo, I need a verse from you," and he was like, "All right, cool." You know what I'm saying? And I just started moving out from there. You know what I mean? But that's the homie.
Who made the beat on Fly Talk?
Oh, my man Dennis Agony Jenkins, man. He's a dope producer. He did a lot of stuff for Crooked Eye. He did a lot of stuff for Iggy Azalea, Justin Bieber. This kid, he's just amazing. He's an amazing producer. He also did War 2 on my album. Also, and he did Which Way to Go as well. You know what I mean? So,
All right.
he's just a dope producer.
All right, let's hear your track, Fly Talk featuring 38 Special, right here on Magic Show Deluxe Syndicated. Let's go. We're gonna
Freedom Wade.
visualize an audio. Let's go. Bruh.
Freedom Wade.
Huh. Yeah.
Wash stand me. Agony's crazy.
Hustle. Reef, I see you, my nigga.
Hey, yo! Yeah. Parting Reef with the lateness. Was trapping and caking it. It's a fact, me and rappers recapped and patched the relationships. Some said I wasn't working enough. I'm never making it. I burnt them bridges, cost me no bucks. I put no faith in this. But for a while, I've been ambitious as a child. Paid my mama debts as a youngin'. And then again for my prime, what we supposed to do? Love those that is close to you. Closest to the ones unconditional, unequivocal. I know you got the picture, motherfucker. See the fish in you, itching you, the bitch in you. If I stutter, I still shit on you, But nonetheless, I progress, I'm fresh in the building. The God in the flesh and the rest and blessing the children,
I'm hated by bums, and I peeped that. I found the nice park y'all niggas could find sleep at. I'm raw. Probably the reason y'all hard relapsed. I rap, sold weed and crack. I wore 3 hats. Individuals trying to gain residuals. I acquired game from a high chain of criminals. My diet changed the lime, main, and minerals. Everything I put inside my brain medicinal. Y'all line became habitual. $1 million wide came the entire thing from digital. Got a high grade.
And we are back. That's such a hard track, my G, right? Now, who do you want to work with, man? Like some of these drill rappers or any artists in particular, you know what I mean? Or you want them to just be on that real hip hop?
I like artists. Drill rap, it's not my cup of tea. It's not like I can't do it. I could definitely do it, but that's not my cup of tea. It's drill music. I'm not really gonna get on that, but I got, I like to work.
Does it
with
die down in New York? I heard like that whole Brooklyn drill scene is like really dead. It's like really dying down. A lot of the artists are in jail or, something's going on with it. You know
Well,
what
you
I'm
know
saying?
what? I put it like this, right? For a lot of the what they call YNs and all of that, for a lot of the young brothers, I really don't call them YNs, but for a lot of the young brothers out there, once again, it's a means to make money. You know what I'm saying? So if they see that the machine is like, oh, this is what y'all rocking with, oh, this is what y'all doing, okay, we're gonna do this too. You know what I'm saying? So I just really think that shout out to Chicago because they was the originators to do that. I think that, they just followed behind that and kind of like followed the blueprint of it, which is not a good blueprint at all. It's nothing to follow. You know what I'm saying? You see what's happening right now. You see what's going on right now. You know what I'm saying? I don't come from that era. You know what I mean? These days is just out of order. A lot of things is out of order. But they did that. The youngins out here did that as well. You know what I'm saying? And they started to get a lot of notoriety, but it was really about the bread. You know what I'm saying? Because if you really ask me, I don't think they was really in love with that drill type of music. I think they was just, doing it to get the money. You know what I mean? That's if you ask me, New Yorkers.
How do you feel about hip hop not being in the top 40 on the Billboard charts? This is the first time it's happened. I remember like 3 years ago, Lil Durk's track, you know what I mean, was the only thing that was popping. You know what I mean? That was it. That's all you heard. Now there's absolutely nothing on the charts. How do you feel about that, my G?
Well, forget the charts. It ain't even about the charts. It's about hip hop. You know what I'm saying? It's always been about hip hop before it even hit the charts. You heard?
But I'm saying it's like really hip hop I'm not rap music. Rap music, that's what it is. That's drill and all that. That's rap music.
Rap
That's
music.
not considered hip hop. I'm saying it right here. You could all email me and say what you want to say, because I know I get
Right.
some email after this,
Right.
right? But just the fact of like a piece of hip hop, right? One of the elements is no longer popular anymore, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
everything's gone back down to the underground. Feel like the 90s again.
Right.
Seeing you out there, seeing 38, seeing everybody right now just
Right.
shining. And
Well,
I've seen Instagram shooting me more real hip hop than that drill. I don't know if it's the algorithms or something, but it feel like the 90s for some reason. It really
right.
does.
Right. Well, a couple of things. One, you know, substance for one. You know what I'm saying? Is the reason why, the hip hop, the underground hip hop, or what you want to call it, like you said, went back underground. I just look at it as being uh almost back to the essence. But if you really look at the broad scheme of things, if you watching it on the computer, you got a million records coming out every day, right? You got so many records coming out every day. So, if you don't promote your record, and you have to promote it at a big scale still, you know what I mean? Because it's everybody don't have the attention span. You know what I'm saying? So you can have fire projects out there, and you'll never hear them. You know what I mean? But like you said, on the algorithm though, right? They're promoting a lot of now they're promoting a lot of boom bap and stuff like that. But
Mm-hmm.
at one point it was just all drill. It was all kind of that kind of music. You know what I mean? And it's, if you look at it, hip hop is from the struggle. You know what I'm saying? So what I mean by that is that money is not being pumped in. It's just pure art. It's supposed to be pure art. It's supposed to be pure art, and your skill is what gets you there. You know what I mean?
Well, look at
Now it's
design.
like,
Look at designer. Look at designer. He
right,
comes up with a boom bap track, totally different. So the
right,
ones at the top, they know what's popping. They know that drill thing is done, finished, right? They said it, if there's any kind of money that we can make from hip hop, you know what I mean? Look at the
bingo,
bag. Look at the kids right now. It's all baggy clothes. You know what I'm saying?
right, right.
So what they
No.
doing is, you see what they doing? They shifting it over, right?
Right,
But
right.
how's it going to be controlled? How's it going to be governed? You know what I'm saying?
So
Should it be
that's the
governed?
that's the that well, if you look at it, is right now it's governed. You know what I'm saying? Underground hip hop, it's not really governed, because everybody, I mean, anybody can come out now. Anybody can come out these days. But the way that is governed is through, algorithm. That's the way that is controlled. It's controlled through algorithm. It's controlled through streaming, and having all of these platforms, wild platforms that, they keep on selling the average person. They keep on selling to the average person. They keep on pushing to the average person. And these platforms got millions of dollars. You know what I'm saying? And so these platforms have enough money to feed the algorithm, to pay, to rock with the algorithm, to push that kind of music, and then get people to say, "Oh, this is it," because I see it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Science is, this is it. This is the music. So let me go ahead. Let me go ahead and do this. Let me go ahead and do that, because this is what's going to make the money. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like putting a carrot in front of your face, and dangling it. Dangling it. For the jackass. You know what I'm saying? So it's just kind of like, if you follow that, if they want to pick you, you'll get picked. You know what I mean? But on the underground tip, is like you said, it's back to the essence of it, where you can get a lot of hip hop and a lot of boom bap. You can also, like you said, the culture as well. The culture shifted. It's going back to the '90s look, where baggy clothes is involved.
I see. You ever see these kids? Like, I'm pretty sure you're driving to do your hustle, working, whatever. You see the kids going to school on the school buses. I'm like, yo, man, I used to own pants like that. Look at the
Right,
shirt he's wearing, right?
right,
So when I saw that coming up 2 years ago, like Lil Wayne and them, they're wearing like the baggy clothes, Drake. I'm like, something's shifting here. It's totally shifted. You know what I mean?
right.
So in saying all that, right? What should artists right now be doing if they're coming out, right? Okay, like, you can't tell them that hip hop's dead, because it ain't dead. You know what I mean? So what's your advice for these artists that are coming out?
I would say be yourself, be original. You know what I'm saying? That's what pushed the hip hop in the beginning. You had Grandmaster Flash, the Furious Five. Then it went on to having KRS-One, from KRS-One, Public Enemy, the Big Daddy Kane, the Cool G Rap, to Rakim, to Nas, to the Fugees, to De La Soul, to Mobb Deep. Like, all of these dudes, to Naughty by Nature, they all had different flavor. They all had different styles. That's the reason why they were pushed out there the way they were pushed out there, because they had the skill and they mastered their craft. So I would say, master your craft. You know what I'm saying? Not follow everybody, but master your craft. You know what I mean? And basically, what a lot of people don't understand, that hip hop is a big pot of gumbo. You know what I'm saying? It's whatever that's attractive, because once again, it comes from the struggle. You know, the struggle. We didn't have no money. We just love what we did. Graffiti, the way we dressed, just to compete, just to have the best rap, just to have the best record playing, just to be just to be the best basketball player, just to be the best football player. That's the drive we went off, and we were going against each other to broaden our skill and move up in our skill level. So I would say be yourself. You know what I'm saying? Be yourself, and always experiment. Always experiment. Until you find until you find that you mastered your craft.
All right. We're gonna hear this track. Oh, actually, you know what? Let's watch your social media. How can they get a hold of you? How can they, listen to your music, and how can they literally be featured with you?
So check this out. You can go to Reef Hustle _ on Instagram. You can go to Reef Hustle on TikTok and Reef Hustle on Facebook, right? And the album I have out right now is called War 2. You know what I mean? Which stands for What About Reef Hustle. The number 2, it stands for Reef Hustle and my brother George Bell. Long story short, my brother George Bell was locked up for 24 years and exonerated. He was totally innocent, which is an ill story. But in the 5-year span that I was making this album, I met my brother during that time, and then he was just basically a part of he's a part of my life, he's part of my history, a part of my story. You know what I mean? So you can also go to all major platforms, War 2, Reef Hustle, REEF HUSTLE. It's on all major platforms. So you can go there and you can check it out. I got a feature with I did a record, a feature with my man Buck Wild. You could, go on the Discog. You can also check feature I did with Diamond D. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I got joints.
I was just gonna bring that up with you and Diamond D now, right?
Yep.
Big ups to Diamond D, big ups to old DITC. I know you growing up in the Bronx, you probably run into all these brothers. You know what I'm saying?
That's the ill part. Yeah, that's the ill part. So, I was from the Upper West Side of the Bronx, right? Home of Kid Capri. You know what I'm saying? Kid Capri was the one who actually drew all of those guys into the neighborhood, because Kid was that guy, and he's still that guy. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I got to see them, on a lot of scales, because, Kid Capri was accepted, well known, well renowned, locally accepted. You know what I'm saying? He was just one of those guys. So that's how, for the most part, I got to see them when I was younger. You know what I mean? And I used to see Slick Rick a lot as a kid. I used to see a lot of
Slick Rick. Big ups to Slick Rick. He came down to Ottawa last year. I hosted that event. I gotta tell you, man, you guys were so lucky. You know what I mean? Y'all so lucky, right? Because if hip hop, quote, decides to die off the rest of the world, you all still have it. You guys still have the essence. So it don't matter. It don't matter to y'all, right? It's like, man. Yo, let hip hop go underground, man. It's still ours. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we still rock. Right. It's still ours. It was born here.
That's right. Now let's talk about Which Way to Go before we go. Which Way to Go. That's one of the main singles off your new album. You know what I'm saying? Now I love the video. Revolutionary. Yes, it is revolutionary, because you have to catch these kids with some of their material, right? But once they in, then you can start to mold them. Now, we're not talking about molding children here. We're talking about giving them good quality music, brain food. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's right. Brain food. Brain food is very important. Like you said, you give them what they want to hear, and then you give them a little bit of medicine. You always got to throw a little bit of medicine. You know what I'm saying? Because if they're sick, they can be cured, or they can help somebody else be cured. But Which Way to Go is produced by my man Dennis Agony Jenkins, man. And the video basically is the concept of you want to do one or two things. You know what I'm saying? Once again, hip hop, the culture, where I'm from, we're from the struggle. You know what I mean? No money, food stamps, heroin blocks, crack blocks. We're from that.
To the intellectual top tier, your butt stops here. Your teardrop against my pen like face tats. You drop tears. Top gear, acceleration and cop gear. Always common denominator, such tremendous flock there. Dumb down for the degenerate ear. Higher level of brain wave is evident here. In school, had my face in the books before meta was here. Studied the greats, now full circle. I'm not veteran here. Speaking on real shit in my middle age. Fresh squeeze without the pulp fiction. My diction took time, never met it, man.
never
You
met
like
it,
the
man.
minerals
Raw
and
hell.
vitamins,
You know
the
what I mean?
iron and the
That's one
niacin.
thing I
You
hate about
literally bite. You gon' never be as nice as them.
I
I
don't
write
like
the
it.
gym with the
It's not to be
intention to
played with,
inspire.
okay?
Your
It's not to
listeners'
be played
attention
with.
to uplift their
You know what I
spirits
mean?
higher.
You see these
Frequencies to the
you see
levels
these
higher.
things
Cause the
on
audience
TikTok.
deserves it. Shout out to all the
These are
wordsmiths
quotes. It's a
writing
joke,
with
right?
a
It's not a
purpose.
joke. You gotta look up where it came from. Even the inner cities in your city, right? Even the ghettos in your city worldwide. You can be in Ukraine, whatever. There's pain and struggle. That's
That's
where
right.
it comes from.
That's right. That's
And you
right. It's a
gotta
lot of things.
and you gotta respect it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
is there anything else you gotta say to us, Reef? You know what I mean?
Well, what I want to say is, first of all, I always really say, "Yo, bless you and your families." That's one that's really, really important because right now we in some real crazy times. You know what I'm saying? We really, really in some crazy times, and I'm not just talking about the United States. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about damn near every country and the countries that we don't even know about. You know what I'm saying? And people are just worrying about themselves, but community is key. You know what I'm saying? Community is key. We just got to figure it out. We got to figure it out, and we got to put it together, amongst each other, and know how to congregate amongst each other and get money with each other. You know what I'm saying? Which is very, very important. So I would say, do a little bit of your, you sit down, do a little bit of thinking, do a little bit of reading, try to eat right, think healthy, work out. You know what I'm saying? Which a lot of people think that's the boring part, but nah, you got to be ready for war. You know what I'm saying? You got to be ready for war because if you think that it ain't going to come in front of your face, it's going to be at your doorstep and you got to be ready. You know what I'm saying? You got to be ready. Hip hop, man, I love it. It's from the struggle. You know what I mean? People who've dealt with this, like you said, it ain't nothing to be played with. You know what I'm saying? People who dealt with this, just understand. Just understand. There's a lot of people out here. I'm not a guest. You know what I'm saying? I am hip hop. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people that's out there that's guests, respect it. Respect our culture. Respect our culture. That's what I'm saying. So War 2, the album is out right now, all major platforms. You know what I'm saying? Reef Hustle, REEFHUSTLE_. That's on Instagram. Reef Hustle on TikTok. Reef Hustle on Facebook. Shout out to MJ. Shout out to
Big ups to MJ. I want to say big ups to MJ, one of the hardest working managers, artist developers. She's multi-talented.
Yes.
All right. And she helps this thing go, right? You know what's funny? The way this culture is shifting, people like MJ are going to be on top of the game here, right? Because hip-hop is now down in the underground, right?
Yeah.
And artists need to be seen, right? So people like MJ are heavily needed right now. Thank you so much, sister, for doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Now, my G, you coming up to Canada. Let's talk about shows real quick. This is the last question I'm going to ask you. Let's talk about shows. You coming up to Canada, going to Europe, any shows in the Bronx, anything like that?
Right now, I'm really just doing what I'm doing, and I'm working on another project right now. I'm kind of gonna keep that low, but I'm just right now, I'm really under just working on new projects and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Man, I got a lot of things as far as the shows. Right now, shout out to my brother 38 Special. He got this segment where, he brings out he just let Fred the Godson, he gives a tribute to Fred the Godson, you know what I'm saying, on all his shows. You know what I'm saying? And if I'm around or whenever I'm up, like he'll pull me out on the stage and in memory of Fred, man. You know what I'm saying? And so, shout out to Trust, man. Shout out to 38 Special, man. One love. You know what I mean? And I appreciate you, brother. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I mean, here we are. One more shout out I would like to shout out, man, for a lot of people, man. My man Jellystone, man. That's my man. Shout out to my brother Jellystone. That's from Toronto. You know what I'm
Big ups
saying?
to Jellystone. How do you
It's
know
my man.
Jellystone? How do you know Jellystone?
Listen, when I tell you the Bronx, it's the Bronx. He got family in the Bronx, and I
There
met
you
him.
go. I got some family out there too. There's that connection. Yeah, there is.
Crazy. Yeah. That's my guy. So shout out to my man, Jellystone. I wanted to shout him out too, man. I can't forget him, man. You know what I'm saying? Mr. ATAP, man. Word up.
Legendary stories coming out of Canada. Eh? Some of the stories we can't mention it, but we just like you all, man. We just like you all. You know what I mean? You guys are not too far from us. We get snow. Y'all get snow, right?
Right.
All right.
That's right.
That's right. Which way to go? By my man Reef Hustle. Let's see that video right now. Hear the audio right here in the Majic DELUXE Syndicated. Thank you so much, bro. Yes,
sir. Hey, yo, Freedom Wave. My man George Bell. Salute. All
right, let's go.
Now.
I never knew which way to go. I
sometimes you don't know where to go. So, you gotta hit the ground running. Be careful though. My mind's all over the place. Reef hustle. TBM's finest. Last year was thinking about enrolling into college. They doubled on the interest rate, credit all in the garbage. Ain't dealing with these bars of fate where the odds are great and tomorrow's nearly promised. These days I don't be giving a fuck, to be honest. But mama say I gotta pay homage to God regardless. Simple and plain, you see my aim is on a trucking range. That costs $1 and change. Now I take the bus and train with diamond cluster chains. Remember all them days, I had them hunger pains. Humble as ever, of course being poor is an infectious disease. I wonder why these young niggas get a tech and then squeeze. Screaming like, oh please, don't wreck up the scene. They got bloods on the strip like diabetic machines. It goes 1 for the money and 2's for the show. Gotta keep it growing till you find which way to go.